Are you sick of smacking people by using strength, dexterity, or even charisma? Don't worry, today we're punching them with wisdom. Welcome to the Attic Dungeon. My name is Sam, and whether you want to whack him with a stick or punch him in the kidneys, I'm here to help you with everything. Hello, it's me again, here to thank you for your loyal act of watching my stuff. I'm actually really happy to be doing this, so make me even happier by spreading the word about the Attic Dungeon, be it by word of mouth, threatening letters to your enemies, or whatever else you can think of. Thank you for the support, subscribe, click the bell, and be sure to watch my stuff every other week. After last time's role-playing video, I'm back doing one of those Attic Dungeon classic episodes, weird builds and how to use them. Yes, today we are going to punch things into oblivion by using wisdom. You all know you use strength and dexterity to slap things around with weapons and what have you. Sometimes even charisma if you're dipping in that hexblade warlock business. But the builds I'm going to present to you today are going to use wisdom as their primary ability score, and even further so, not even for casting spells, but for whacking things. Wonderful, isn't it? Now, as per always, my build videos cover the builds from level 1 to 8. They give some advice, I discuss whatever class features are relevant for the build. You might see me look at my laptop a bit more today. I didn't have that much prep time, so I need my cheat sheet today. I'm sorry. Usually I start with common ground. I don't have any today. There's nothing that the two builds have in common except for the fact that they really like wisdom. The idea came from the fact that I really wanted to do a ranger build, but I had to think a bit harder for a special ranger build. Luckily I found a solution, and then along the road I invited the monk to come and play. So we start with the ranger. What race did I take? Bugbear. Why? They don't have dexterity, Sam. I don't need dexterity. They don't have wisdom. I do need wisdom. Luckily we're using Tasha's flexible ability score rules. It seems like Wizard is going to be using those on every new race that is entering the game now. I'm pretty sure the rabbits got it, the owls got it for sure, all of the new Dragonborn, they got it, and I'm very sure that every race in Mordekainen's multiverse, whatever book, is going to have the flexibility ability score business. So what did we do then? Point by, of course, 12 strength. Why 12 strength? You're a ranger, you're going to be wearing medium armor. You need some guns to carry that armor. 14 dexterity because you're wearing medium armor. You need some ninja moves to add to your armor class. And then 15 constitution, 8 intelligence, 14 wisdom, 8 charisma. I put my +1 in constitution, my +2 in wisdom, so I end up with 16 in each of those, and 14 in dexterity, which is a good start. Obviously, rangers at level 1, I'm using Tasha's ranger format. Get some other stuff as well. But before that, maybe I want to talk about why the wisdom build. Rangers are not my favorite class. You all know this by now. I have a small aversion of classes that are too multi-ability score dependent. In this case, your ranger needs dexterity, maybe strength if you want to go out on a limb, to attack efficiently, and then you still have to pump wisdom somewhere to use part of your spells efficiently. There's quite a few ranger spells that do not rely on how high your wisdom is, and that's good, but there's quite a few that do. And that sucks because you usually either you pump dex and wisdom and you don't have any room for fun feats, or you pump dexterity and grab a feat or two and you don't have any room for wisdom, and that's really sad. So I looked for a way around that, so I made a ranger that doesn't really need dexterity anymore. As I said, we do take some dexterity for the medium armor, and it's still dexterity, it's still the God King ability score of the game. Initiative, dexterity saving throw are out there as well. Tasha's ranger variant, of course. So at level 1 you gain the favored foe thing, which is good because we will not be taking Hunter's Mark. No, the fact that we are going to pump up wisdom so high actually opens up a lot more spell options for us than ye old Hunter's Mark. So we're not taking that. Favorite foe will have to do, and it will do. It's really not as bad as some people make it out to be. Nothing else here really matters at level 1. At level 2, we gain our most important feature. We gain our fighting style. Back to level 1. You have to take a club. You can select like martial weapons, but don't select 2 simple weapons, and one of the 2 has to be a club. Yes, because at level 2, our fighting style will be Druidic Warrior, one of the new styles Rangers got in Tasha's. This allows you to pick up 2 Druid cantrips. And if you know that I'm going to focus on Wisdom for whacking stuff, you know that I'm going to pick up Shillelagh or Shillelagh or whatever. If anyone knows how to pronounce this cantrip, let me know, please. Been playing this game for 15 years. I still don't know what it's called. So Shillelagh and Magic Stone as well. Both spells do the same. They allow us to use our Wisdom modifier as our attacking and damage modifier. Shillelagh does that for melee attacks, and Magic Stone does it for ranged attacks. Specifically, how do the spells work? Shillelagh allows us to transform our club into a D8 whacking stick of death, which is great. It's really good. And it's a bonus action, and it lasts for a minute, so at the start of a fight, you push the button on your stick and you start whacking, whacking, whacking. Really easy. Magic Stone, bit more complex. You use a bonus action to pick up some stones and enchant them, and then you have 3 rocks, and you can throw those rocks, and you are going to use your spellcasting modifier to throw those rocks. So in our case, Wisdom. This gives us a melee and a ranged alternative with Wisdom. Now, you might look at rocks and think, hey, it's a cantrip, it's a ranged cantrip. Sam, it doesn't scale, it's bad. It kind of scales, obviously, the damage scales with Wisdom. And it will scale because as a ranger, you get extra attack. That is the main problem with every other caster who has access to magic stones or magic rocks or whatever. They don't gain extra attack. So they can only ever throw 1 rock. And yes, that will be severely outclassed by the fact that your fire bolt is going to be cast 3 times at a certain point in the game. We get extra attack, so we can throw 2 rocks and add our Wisdom twice. So that's going to compensate easily. So that's level 2. Obviously, you also want spells. I already said we're not grabbing Hunter's Mark. We want those other spells. Tasha's gave us one of the smites. That's fun. Ensnaring Strike suddenly is really good. You whack something, and if they fail their save versus our magnificent difficulty class, vines sprout up and grab the thing, dealing damage and restraining them, so giving your other attacks advantage or your allies' attacks advantage. All good, really fun. Hail of Thorns does the same for ranged. You throw a rock, you cast Hail of Thorns, suddenly thorns follow the rock and not only hit the enemy you're targeting, but the enemies around him as well for 1d10 unless they save. And then they take half damage. Again, our high Wisdom is going to help us out here. Another good one would be Snare. You know, that's the invisible trap you can make you can cast to make people go like in the cartoons when they hang upside down in a snare. That thing again relies on a dexterity save made by the enemy. So yeah, that high Wisdom is going to be necessary here. You will see that a lot of the spells that I'm picking today are concentration based. Once you get to the higher spell levels, you can swap out some lower level concentration spells for utility spells, of course. Don't hesitate to do so. So that's level 2, basically. Level 3 obviously has the very important fact that we are selecting our subclass, and we're picking up something new here, the Fey Wanderer. Why do I like fairies? Not necessarily. I like the glamour magic that they usually have, though, but it is, I think, the only subclass the Ranger has that has abilities that rely on Wisdom. Yay, more Wisdom modifier bonuses, which is fun. Not only that, it's going to add to our whack-a-stick potential. The first thing you get as Fey Wanderer is Dreadful Strikes, which allows you to enhance your weapon with mind-scarring magic. Whenever you hit something, once per turn, so it works on your turn and on opportunity attacks, kind of like a sneak attack for rogues. It deals 1d4 psychic damage extra, which is good. And the damage ramps up to a d6, and I misworded a bit there. It's not that you can only deal this damage once per turn. The creature can only take the damage once per turn. So if you're whacking two different creatures, because we get extra attack, they both take the psychic damage. If you're attack of opportunity whacking something, it will also take the damage. So any weapon strike that you are able to do per creature per turn will add 1d4, 1d6 when you reach level 11. It's actually pretty good. I like it. You get some extra spells, which are all Fey-like, of course, but some of them rely on saving throws. Like the first one you get is Charm Person. You know what you need for Charm Person? A decent spell DC. What do we have? A decent spell DC. You also get Misty Step. I love Misty Step. Funk, funk, now I'm there, whacking you in the face. Dispel Magic, again, relies on your spellcasting modifier, so good news, everybody! We have a high spellcasting modifier. Fey Wanderer really is a good match for a wisdom-based build. There was one more thing that you got. Oh yes, Otherworldly Glamour. It gives you proficiency in one social skill, either Deception, Performance, or Persuasion. I took Persuasion. I usually don't lie. I don't know. I like playing the good guy. But it also allows you to add your Wisdom modifier to any Charisma check you make. Which is good, because your Charisma is going to suck as a Ranger, usually because you need Dexterity, Constitution, and Wisdom. But here's Wisdom, compensating for your bad Charisma. Yes! That's what we need. This is the best subclass ever for the build I was hoping to make. Level 4 allows you to swap out cantrips. We don't want to do that. It also gives us a very simple Wisdom bump. We're going to put our Wisdom at 18. More Whacking Stick, more Charisma power, more Throwy Stones, more Spell DC. It's good, it's better, it's the best. As we go on level 5, of course, give you extra attack. Now you get to whack your stick twice, you get to throw through 2 rocks in a turn. It's all really good. It basically doubles the power that you have in a single turn. It also gives you level 2 spells. I'm going to take out 2 atypical spells here. First one is actually not that atypical, but it's Healing Spirit. Everybody knows and loves Healing Spirit because it's a decent healing spell. Even for the Ranger who gets it at level 5, whereas the rest can get it at, like normal casters can get it at level 3. It's still a good spell, and because we have bumped our Wisdom, the amount of times that the Spirit can be used will always be maximized. That's the goal of the build. Having max Wisdom also maximizes the healing of Healing Spirit. So this spell suddenly is a lot more useful than when you have 14 Wisdom. And Magic Weapon. Magic Weapon is a bit of a... well, it's a concentration spell, as I already said, like most of my spells are. It allows you to make a weapon into a magic +1 weapon, and if you use level 4 spell slot, you can make it into a magic +2 weapon. So maybe at high level, I don't know, who cares. You have to know something here, though. The good news is you can cast Magic Weapon as a bonus action, just like Shillelagh. Uh-oh, I sense conflicting. Yeah, we have a lot of bonus action usage here, so really pay attention to what you use when. Important to know is, though, you cannot cast Magic Weapon on a weapon that is already magical. So you cannot cast it on a weapon that already has been Shillelaghified, because Shillelagh says if the weapon is not magical, we make it magical. So first cast Magic Weapon, make your club into a +1 club, then cast Shillelagh on it to make your +1 club a +1 Wisdom-based D8 smackadoodle stick of death. Not the other way around, because that won't work. So yeah, that's my abnormal spell. I don't often take Magic Weapon, but it's not that bad here. It makes your Wax Stick even better. And for some reason, making the build Wisdom based wasn't enough for me. I really want to make this Club of Death somehow. So I'm tossing all the enchantments on it that I can. That's why I took the Fey Wanderer. That's why I take Magic Weapon, Shillelagh, Favored Foe. If for some reason you have this really long fight against a terribly HP rich bad guy, you're going to be doing a lot of damage per turn at the end of the thing when all your skills and spells have activated for some reason. It sounded like fun. almost forgot to talk about features higher than level 5, my lord. So, extra attack, good stuff. Second level spells, good stuff. At level 7 you get Beguiling Twist. A minor feature, but still better because of our build. You gain advantage on saving throws against being charmed on frightened, and whenever you or a creature you can see within 120 feet of you saves against one of those saving throws, you can force another creature to make a wisdom save. So here we are again, something has to make a wisdom save against your spell DC. Huzzah, we have 18 wisdom. And if they fail, they are frightened of you for 1 minute. They can repeat the save, I think. Yeah, at the end of each turn, they can repeat the save to become unfrightened. But again, this is a feature that is greatly enhanced by the fact that we have greatly enhanced our wisdom. And then you might think, oh, Sam, at level 8, surely you're taking up another 2 in your wisdom to buff all these wonderful features. I could. I would. I should, really. But I want to do something else. Because of the way we fight with a club, stones, and possibly a shield, you have a hand, open hand for a shield, really good. Or you could just club and stone and whatever, but usually you'll fight with a shield. The dueling fighting style is very good for you. Obviously, we couldn't pick it because we had to pick Druidic Warrior, and I didn't want to multi-class into Druid because I don't want to lose levels of my Ranger features. I don't make that many Rangers, so let me enjoy the one that I have. So at level 8, I took Fighting Initiate / Dueling to get +2 damage on both my club and my rocks if you're fighting with a shield. So don't dual wield these things. Hold one of them, the club or the stones, and now both of those gain an additional 2 damage. As I said, I really want to try and make the club as deadly as possible, and now it has Shillelagh, possibly magic weapon, the extra damage from Fey Wanderer, extra damage from favored foe, and this wonderful +2 now from dueling. It is, and you can attack twice per turn. It is really a beautiful thing to behold, these clubs and rocks of death. And there we are, that is the Ranger. Now let's go and have a look at how the Monk puncheth things to death with wisdom. So yes, the Monk, very well known for punching people to the face by using dexterity all the time, also has an option to completely avoid doing that and use wisdom instead. For the Ranger, halfway through, I remember to tell you that the idea was there to also buff your spells. What's the idea for the Monk? Stunning Strike. You have a wonderful ability in Stunning Strike. You gain it at level 5. You punch someone, you spend the key point if you hit. If they fail the Constitution save, they are stunned for a complete turn, making them cannon fodder for yourself and your allies. It is an amazing ability, but it relies on your wisdom, which historically is not the highest ability score in the world, even for monks. Because you first want to up your dexterity, because all of your attacks are reliant on dexterity or strength, but who the hell wants a strength monk anyway? So yes, here we are building a monk whose main purpose is stun punching people in the kidneys. I love doing that. For race, doesn't matter, I took a tabaxi because I've never used tabaxi, and because monks already gain a ludicrous amount of movement speed, and the tabaxi have this wonderful thing, racial ability where you can double your movement speed for the turn, I think once per short rest or something. If I'm not mistaken, monks also have access to easy dash, but don't care. I wanted to make the monk even faster. There we are, it's a cat, meow. And it kind of works for the stealthy monk type. Ability scores, then I put 8 in strength because nobody cares if a monk has a high strength, especially not this one, and you'll see why. The ranger needed some strength because medium armor is a thing, but the monk doesn't carry anything, so nobody cares. So 8 strength, 15 dexterity, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, 15 wisdom, 8 charisma were my point buy stats, and then I buffed dexterity and wisdom up to 16. And 17 respectively. So I started with 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, and 17 wisdom. Why still the 16 dex if we're going to punch him with wisdom, Sam? 2 reasons. It's still dexterity. I don't wear medium armor. The monk doesn't wear I never wear armor. the monk doesn't wear any armor, so dexterity is always armor class. It's still initiative, it's still dex saves. I've almost felt bad pushing dexterity so high. I was tempted to buff constitution, but it's just better to put it into dexterity for them. So second reason, you take 3 levels to get to your subclass, which is going to solve our wisdom punching problem. So for those first levels, it's actually really good that you have a high dexterity, so you can still punch at maximum efficiency. What else is there at level 1? The obvious features for you. You have your martial arts die and your unarmored defense. Nobody cares, it's a level 1 monk. Level 2, you gain key points. Those are going to be important because you're a monk. Level 3, oh yeah, your first movement increase as well, of course. But level 3 is where we start with our monastic tradition. You might have, if you know the monk really well, you will have guessed what we are taking. We are taking the way of the Astral Self. Why? Because also at level 3, you gain the ability to spend 1 key point as a bonus action to summon the arms of your Astral Self. So the idea of the Astral Self is that you have an Astral Self, and this monk learns to channel energy to summon various body parts of the Astral Self, and at the end you can summon your entire Astral Self and be a badass. But we start with the arms. So an extra pair of arms comes your way. Fun stuff when you summon the arms. The creatures around you within 10 feet, creatures that you choose, you can avoid your allies, have to do a dexterity save, or they get punched for 2 times your martial arts die, which is already really good. And since we are buffing wisdom along the road, this save is going to get harder to avoid. So each time you pop your arms, you're going to punch everything around you and have a really high chance of actually hitting them because your wisdom is going to be high. The arms last 10 minutes, which is also good. So back-to-back combat will not cost you multiple key points to summon the arms. Obviously, you can still use the key points for other things. Not my problem, have your fun. Now, what do these arms actually do? Some really good things. What we're here for, they allow us to perform unarmed strikes with wisdom instead of strength or dexterity as we want. So not your weapon attacks, not your monk weapons, only your unarmed attacks. Basically it's your ghost arms pummeling people into submission, but that's good enough. That really is all we need. So this is where we stop pumping dexterity. So the build is done. No, the build is not yet done. Well, it is done, but we're going to make it better. The arms have reach as well, so you can punch farther. And when you have to roll a strength save or a dry strength ability check, you can use wisdom instead. So that dump we did in strength doesn't matter anymore. You have proficiency in strength, but you can use your wisdom modifier on a strength save. Now this is a bit perplexing, but I believe that means you can still use our strength proficiency for our saving throw, but just use our wisdom modifier because we're still making a strength saving throw. We don't change it into a wisdom saving throw. We don't do that. So at level 3, we get a wonderful set of arms that allow us to pummel people into submission. Since they last for a relatively long time and you already have 2 key points, so you can summon them three key points. You can summon them 3 times a day for 10 minutes. That is actually most of your fighting covered for a day. And once you get into the higher levels, just always keep a key point handy to summon the arms when you need to, so you can punch people with wisdom. Because at the next level, we are going to buff that wisdom. You will have noticed that we had an uneven wisdom ability score to begin with. Sam, you scoundrel, you fiend. That means we're picking up a feat, of course. The feat is Gift of the Gem Dragon. I thought, let's take something from Fitzbands. I haven't done a build in so long because of all the class guide that there's quite a bit of new material to work with, so let's actually use it. So Gift of the Gem Dragon, the wisdom version, of course, is going to give us +1 wisdom. And when we take damage from a creature that is within 10 feet of us, which is great because that's our punching range, so that's where we want to be, you can use your reaction to telekinetically smite the being away from you, and the bugger will take 2d8 force damage and be pushed 10 feet away from you. If they fail, a saving throw, a strength save again. That's okay, because our wisdom is top notch. Our wisdom is 18. We're going to be smacking people with this thing all over the place. You can use this number of times equal to your proficiency modifier per long rest. So that's good. It gives you a nice way to use your reactions. Monk obviously have a good way to use your reaction in deflect missiles. You can catch arrows and throw them back at people. I love that thing. But if nobody's shooting you, this is a really good way to just slap people with your hands when they're trying to attack you. Oh no, you attack me. Smack! Back to the corner, you silly mouse. So that's good. At level 5, there is not slow fall. What am I? Extra attack, of course. So now all those arms are going to punching twice as many times. Hup, 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 hup. And don't forget, yes, because we're not using any weapons. You'd think, oh, but my damage is going to be bad in the beginning. Your martial arts die is starting to scale around these levels. I forgot to check which level exactly. So the difference between holding a weapon and not holding a weapon is going to fade anyway. Just punch people many times with your wisdom-based arms. You get extra attack. You also get Stunning Strike here. I've already explained Stunning Strike. When you hit with a melee attack, you spend 1 key point and you stun them for an entire turn until the end of your next turn, by the way. So even if your last attack of the turn is stunning them, you still have all of your attacks till next turn with advantage if the thing is still alive. If it's your first attack on the turn that stuns them, you actually have almost 2 full turns of punching things with advantage. That is a lot of damage, by the way. And then there's basically nothing special here that I need to talk to you about for the build. Obviously, you get at level 6, you get the visage of the Astral Self. You can summon the face, which gives you dark vision, advantage on insight checks and on intimidation checks. Hey, remember what insight is based on? Wisdom! So that high wisdom score is once again serving its purpose here because we're getting advantage on a skill that is based on our primary attribute. Even though the skill might not be proficient, you're going to be really good at this. That's the most important thing actually for that. No, it's dark vision, something with being able to whisper from very far away, and the fact that you have advantage on 2 skills as long as you summon the face. The face again costs 1 key point for 10 minutes. You get stuff like evasion and stillness of mind, and then at level 8 I kept it simple. I just pumped my wisdom +2. So at level 8 this monk has 20 wisdom and 16 dexterity, which means he will have 18 armor class. That's the same as the ranger build has with the shield and the scale armor or whatever they start with. So this monk is tanky-ish armor class wise. Further down the road you can pump up dexterity as well to gain more armor class. You can pick more feats because nobody cares. You have 18 armor class, you don't necessarily need more as a monk. So you could spend 12, 16 and 19 if you ever get that far on feats, because your build is online the moment you get Astral Self and get at least 18 wisdom. 20 is gravy as always. And that's the monk. So we're smacking, whacking and punching people and throwing rocks with wisdom. That is what I want to see you do in your next one-shot, your next campaign. I hope you enjoyed this build. I really enjoyed making builds again. I have to do this more often. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks in the Attic Dungeon.